Okay, let's see, what do we need to do here? What needs to get done? We need to add the text on our screen here really quick. I'm going to have to change scenes, so I'm going to have to say hello and do some sort of intro, aren't I? Well, hello, welcome back nerds and turds to another live stream repair. This is going to be quite the long one. Let's see what we've got on our list. Oh boy. This is the most we've ever had come in one day, and of all days they came in while I was stuck at the hospital all day yesterday. So we're going to try to knock these out early on, so that way I can focus on catching up on some work with my day job and get some stuff done, yeah? So, first up we've got Elliot with no power. After that, let's see, I don't think we're going to be able to fit everyone on the screen here, but we will try. We've got Jim with no power, Michael with death farts, Rich with no power, Hoang with 2, one with distortion and one with no bass. Then we've got Joel with death farts, Kevin with no power, Daniel with no power, and Jared with no power. Yeah, see, that's not going to fit on the screen. That's okay. Jared, and then Rich. H. We've got 2 Riches. Damn, that's a list. Okay. Well, I guess we shall get started, huh? First up with Elliot's with no power. We'll start things off with a nice and easy one. Ooh. Elliot included a return shipping label. Thank you. That always makes things easier. Well, here's their HomePod. Let's get that power cable out of here. We don't trust anyone else's power cables. We've never seen a power cable cause problems, but you know, there's always a first time for something, yeah? And we'll make sure with our known good power cable that that's not the problem here. So let's check over our symptoms. No response there, and we're looking at around 6 watts of power draw from the wall. So this all looks like the most common no power failure mode, where the Schottky barrier diode shorts out and prevents the whole HomePod from powering on. That diode is on the amplifier, but because the logic board gets its power through the amp board, if the amp isn't working properly, the logic board isn't going to turn on, and that's why you get this no power behavior, even if the problem is on the amp, not the logic board or power supply itself. So let's crack this open and get to fixing. Let's see, we got some chats too. Hey, I'm sitting here with many problems. I sent you a mail and I'm not able to solder resistors. How dumb am I? Can I pay you for a FaceTime lesson on soldering? You're better off searching YouTube videos for soldering 101, basically. Louis Rossmann, for example. There's numerous other videos on YouTube that are going to give you far better learning experience and teaching you how to do this stuff than I am. I just do what I know works for me, and what may work for me may not work for you. So how I learned how to do all this myself was pretty much just trial and error, trying different methods until I found both what I was comfortable with and what gave me the best results. Let's see. You already used like 12 resistors on one board, still popping. Yeah, flux is the key to good soldering. Like without flux, you're just gonna end up with cold joints if anything even solders together at all. You know it's a diode problem. I'm not sure if some local technician can help. Interesting. So, unfortunately, we've got probably 5 or 6 hours worth of repairs to try to crank through here on this stream, so I can't really go back and forth with people today on troubleshooting and diagnosing and tips and such. And I ended up getting like 40 to 50 emails yesterday that I couldn't respond to because I was stuck at the hospital all day. And I got another 20 to 30 while I was trying to catch up on some sleep last night. So we're hella behind. But let's try to blast through these, and then maybe, depending on what our timing looks like, we can catch up at the end. Maybe write some emails and help people out that need some stuff. Okay. Good thing is everybody is all right. Everybody checked out. So we've got nothing to really be concerned about. Ooh, solder's not sticking to your pads, huh? Yeah, definitely what you should try to do is get some like solder wick and flux that area up. Try to lightly clean up those pads, and then reflux it, of course, and then try to apply some fresh solder. I think I saw someone in my emails, if it wasn't you, Martin, somebody was asking me about them questioning their own repairs because they didn't use low melt solder. And I think you're gonna be pretty much fine regardless of whether you use low melt solder or regular solder on those capacitors. I only use the low melt just to make it a little quicker and easier to get them on there. But it's not like super low melt, so it's not too much of a compromise on its brittleness. It's not going to break. It's not going to melt under normal operating temperatures. What are my thoughts on HomePod 2? I am reserving my thoughts until I get my hands on mine, February 3rd. I've heard the Amtech Flux is totally good stuff if you're getting the legitimate stuff and not counterfeit. I think a lot of the Amazon Amtech Flux ends up being counterfeit in especially eBay and obviously AliExpress. This is a HomePod repair on a fairly pleasant time for anybody. It's gonna be a long one. Time for the pry. Yeah, I don't know why they haven't launched a service program. Well, I think we all know why they have avoided it. But I'm just... Well, there's also, honestly, like, the first-gen HomePod wasn't, I don't think, popular enough that there are enough customers complaining about issues. Enough customers complaining about issues, really, to make them do something about it. Oh, I know why you heard an echo. My Pride camera had a microphone built into... there we go. That should be better. Okay, so subwoofer looks good, feels good, smells good. So that all checks out. $20 off a new one. Well, welcome everybody to the live stream. Okay, camera, I want you to focus there. And I want you to stay focused. You were built to focus, unlike me. Amplifier, here we come. Oh, Martin, I'm curious, how does your step-down converter to the left of your Schottky barrier diode look? Does it still look okay? Or does it look kind of baked? Because it's possible that your step-down converter also needs to be replaced too. I'm honestly, off the top of my head, not sure how you would test the step-down converter, especially because every time you turn the thing on, it tries to blow up your diode. But you might be able to get some hints from the data sheet for that step-down converter. It's the TPS 54560. Alright, I'm kind of jealous. I want some chocolate milk. But I ain't got none. Here we are. That diode right there says it's got a date code of 1748K on it. So, with almost absolute certainty, that is probably the problem. And yes, it is. So let's get that replaced and we'll see if this amp turns on. Yeah, if you're doing this repair yourself, make sure that you verify that your diode is shorted out before you just go and replace it. It is rare, but sometimes your no power is caused by something else. You can usually guess what it is based on the power draw from the wall, which is why you see us check our kilowatt meter before we even start. Oh, my hot air's only at 300. Let's crank that up. Well, now that it's preheated, but yeah, 0 watts of power draw is most likely a blown fuse in the power supply. 1 to 2 watts of power draw is most likely a short on the logic board. And then 3 to 7 watts, or 3 to 10 watts, is going to be usually this shorted diode on the amplifier. Ever so rarely, I think one power supply I've seen drawing 7 watts of power from the wall with a shorted chip somewhere on the power supply, but I've only seen that once. So, if you're doing your own repairs, it would be a very wise decision to buy a few broken HomePods just to have the spare parts, so that way you can more effectively diagnose problems and nail down which board the problem is coming from. So if you have the spare parts for an amp, power supply, logic board, you want a loose ribbon cable in the internal power connector so you can just test things on your bench without having to put it all together and take it all apart. If you've got essentially one of each spare part, then it's very easy for you to trial and error and really quickly nail down which board is causing what issue. Turn off. Come on. Yeah, someone was talking about like a cable that they replaced that had bad connections. Usually you can just clean the cable off with a Q-tip and some rubbing alcohol. But I've seen that myself where like the cable's just not making good contact and it doesn't produce sound. Let's see if it works. We've got power. And we've got good sound. And we've only got 1 millivolt of DC offset. So that is all excellent. This is all checking out, and we can put this this board back together. So let's go ahead and do just that. Damn, I would much rather blow up a power supply than a logic board, though. So you got lucky there. The name of the electric screwdriver that I use is the Miniware ES15 motion control electric screwdriver. It's probably not the cheapest version that this same exact screwdriver has been branded as, but it's the one I was given, and it works damn well. it's perfect. The only flaw, and I mean considering its size, it puts out it puts out really good torque. So I wouldn't really want to compromise on any more power from this just to make it smaller. But it's just barely too big and short to reach all the amp screws. And it's also having a hell of a time magnetizing, so once I work around those two issues, this will be the only screwdriver we need to do pretty much anything. But I know that I've seen other YouTubers using this same screwdriver, just with like different branding. So I'm sure there are cheaper versions of these out there that are the exact same thing. Where did you get your flux? Did you get it from Amazon? Grumpy baby. I feel like a lot of the counterfeit Amtech flux, it should probably still work as a basic flux. It's probably not going to be like amazing, but I feel like it should still at least work as like a basic flux. Regular shop. Alright, I really want to see these photos now. Wow, that is a disgusting power connector. But I mean, all of the pins look like they're still there and they're lined up right. So I mean, if it still physically plugs in, it might still be fine. I wouldn't. Yeah, I mean, it would. If it physically fits, it would probably still work. I'll say that much. But I would replace that if it was me working on someone else's. If it was my own, if it worked, I would just keep it. Let's see. Wow, you've blasted my inbox, haven't you, Martin? And every half hour that passes by, I get 5 more. Wow. Check mail now. Come on. Quit being a lazy piece. Okay, so here's the most recent one from Martin. What do we got here? Yeah, there's the power supply connector. That's kind of gnarly. Okay, so your step-down converter looks okay. Everything else there looks good. Can you send me photos of what it looks like now after you tried to fix it? Unless you already did. Shit, I need to work on these. I'll be here all day. Okay, I guess I don't follow what your current problem is. It flashes the volume buttons and then restarts by itself. Do you have the spare parts to swap around and confirm that this issue's coming from your amplifier and not a logic board problem? Because that's what I'd be curious about. I would start just by establishing that your logic board is still fine. It didn't have any other issues or didn't get damaged somehow. As well as the power supply that you're using, and then confirm that the issue solely lies with the amplifier. If you had a thermal camera, I would ask if you can see the step-down converter next to the diode getting super hot. But maybe you can put some flux on it and see if it see if the flux like starts to melt when you power it on. Because I saw an amp repair that I did for no power with the diode, and after I repaired it, it would turn on, but the volume buttons would flash once and then it would restart again. And keep looping like that. And I used my thermal camera to find out that the step-down converter right next to that diode was seemed to be misbehaving. It was getting really hot. But the lettering on it was much more obviously burnt out than the photos that you sent me. So I doubt it would be that just based on the looks of it. But it's hard to tell. Hard to judge through just a photo. Come on. There we go. Then that sounds a lot like an issue with the logic board. Not something I really know how to fix right now. Still don't even know for sure how to determine whether it's just a software brick or if it's a hardware problem, and if so, where that hardware problem lies. Do I accept donations? Oh yeah, I do. If you go to my website, nixfix.com, and you go all the way to the bottom. I've got a place where you can donate to my PayPal or Cash App. Much appreciated. Thank you, thank you. I'm glad that my info is actually helping people out there fix these. That's been one of the main goals of doing these repairs and figuring these out and documenting that information. I didn't want to be the only guy fixing these. Oh, hey, Elliot. Welcome to the stream. Of course. Welcome. The next question is, do we make everybody's repairs for today wait an extra day so that way I can test them before shipping them back? Or do we try to get them all paid up and shipped out by the end of today? Honestly, after letting everybody know that I had a really long day yesterday and that I'd be pushing them back, it seems like everybody will be totally fine, and it would be the safer play to wait an extra day so we can test all of our repairs that we've done today before trying to rush them all out the door the same day we fix them. That's not... doesn't always play out well. Yeah, I know. I say on my website I fix them all the same day and ship them out the next. But this isn't a New York pizza shop. If it's 30 minutes late, it's not free. Alright? But everybody seemed to really understand it, so I'm just joking around. That's been like one of the really cool things about doing these repairs for everybody. Up to this point, everybody that I've dealt with, and we're talking 300-400 people's HomePods and people at this point, but all of these people all of you guys that I've dealt with I've never had any problems. Like, everybody's always been super nice to deal with and understanding if anything happens or a situation arises. You guys are awesome. Okay, guys. Is this one working?
Play.
Yes, so we've got sound.
There's a problem with the Wi-Fi. For more info, take a look in the Home app.
Volume buttons light up nice and even. I hate to cut this short, especially only one into an 11 repair marathon here. But I had something else come up, and I'm going to have to go. I will be back in a few hours for us to wrap up the rest of these repairs and wrap up this marathon. So, again, sorry to cut this short for you guys. I let everybody's HomePods know that they were here and we were going to fix them here and now, but again, can't, life stuff happens.